Welcome to Cut the COVID Crap Part 32. The CDC study on the risk of myocarditis is a joke. Okay, here the t-shirt of the week. Take a moment to look at it. This is my prediction for 2023 and 2024. But let's start with the UK data as usual. Um, the link below as usual. Um, out of the new COVID cases, 7% of them are amongst the unvaccinated, 93% amongst the vaccinated. New hospitalizations in emergency hospitalizations, 12% is unvaccinated, 88% is vaccinated. The deaths, same as last week, 10% is unvaccinated, 90% is vaccinated amongst the adult population. Okay, before going to the subject of the week, the CDC study, let's take a little bit of a let's think back about what we hear in the last what we heard the last months, the last year, the last weeks even. Um, Remember the origin of the virus, the Wuhan lab leak couldn't be said, and now it's ever since the president said that the U.S. president said that the lab leak should be investigated. It's more it's not banned anymore. Um, and more recently, the Ukraine, the current Ukraine regime, no, they don't have ties to Nazis. No, 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 no. That's Zelensky is a Jew, so no, that's impossible. So in the mainstream media, that's it's not on. But see the link below. A documentary from a few years ago from the BBC itself is about the uprising and the Nazis, the local Nazi groups having a big role in that. I'm not saying the current regime is Nazis, but they clearly had help from Nazis um, historically. What their influence is now, I don't know. But the fact that you cannot even talk about it, that is strange. What else couldn't we talk about before? Or whatever. What other biases do we see in mainstream media? Remember, vaccination was the only solution. Hmm. Hmm. Really? Natural immunity? Not? Okay. The pushback on medicines like ivermectin. Again, I'm not saying ivermectin works, but in April 2020, 2 years ago now, the first studies of ivermectin came out and they were heavily suppressed. There were no medicines yet. There was no vaccination yet, but it was heavily suppressed. More than a year later, in September 2021, Merck, the pharmaceutical Merck, um, comes out with molnupiravir, a drug to treat COVID. And the governments they wanted to take it on straight away. $1,000 per pop, no problem. The Australian government, a month before Merck came out, said they made ivermectin illegal in Australia. Doctors were not allowed to prescribe it. A month later, because of a drug company publishing data saying like, "Hey, we think molnupiravir works," the Australian government bought $300 million worth of molnupiravir if they use the same pricing as in the US, like $1,000 a pop. Have you heard of molnupiravir now? It's nowhere to be seen, right? It's apparently not as effective as the drug company itself made it out to be. Basically, it failed in practice. So ivermectin gets immediately pushed back, and molnupiravir gets immediately brought on. Only if it's clear that it doesn't work after trying it in real life. It slowly disappears off the market. And what did government leaders say again? It's a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Really, pandemic of the unvaccinated. And I remember the U.S. president saying, if you're vaccinated, you don't get COVID. Hey, hey, Dad, remember?
You can't say that. You can't say that here. You can't say that here. You're not gonna make this into an Odyssey or YouTube video, okay? Okay, you can't say that, okay? Okay,
Oh,
okay.
oh.
I'll ban you on YouTube, okay? Okay, I'll freeze your bank accounts.
Okay.
Okay. You got this? You got this? Because
Hmm.
you can't frame America. America are the good boys here. Here, you
Well,
want me to show me something? You
I'll,
want me to show
I'll,
you
I'll,
something?
I'll, I'll give you the stage, okay? I'll give you the stage.
Okay, so you see, America and Russia. This is America, this is Russia. Captain America, Captain Communism. You see Captain Communism with these blast rays? They're always attacking. And you see Captain America here, only a shield. He never attacks, he always defends. See? Bang bang bang, but like he'll never fight back. Captain America will never fight back. Get it?
And how about in the Iraq war?
Oh, Kuwait like needed so much help. They were tiny. They were defenseless. What do you mean?
But they invaded twice, right? What about the second war?
What second war? You know what? That's besides the point. Look, okay. You know what? You see our beautiful little statue we have in New York? The
Yeah, I've seen
Statue
that
of
before.
Liberty. Yeah. You know what? How about you search up what liberty means? Because that is exactly what the US is all about.
Liberty, right?
Yeah, liberty.
Okay.
Go ahead and search it up.
Let me look it up. Liberty. The state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, or political views.
See, that's exactly what I mean. In communism, you see, Putin has been in power for so long. He changed himself to prime minister when someone else had to be president. You see, here we have liberty. They don't. This is why France gave us this statue.
Right.
Okay? And you better still not make this into a YouTube video. This is highly illegal. Okay? Here. Take this.
Okay.
Okay. You must not do anything. Okay. Here. You can take this.
Okay. Thank you for your explanation.
Make sure not to do it. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Back to the title, the CDC study, the risk of myocarditis. I saw this yesterday. Link below as usual. So the CDC published um, yesterday cardiac complication after SARS-CoV-2 infection and mRNA COVID-19 vaccinations. January 21, 2022. Again, the link is below. So it's the CDC publishing something about the risk of vaccination in comparison. Interesting, because like there have been many studies. I discussed the most recent decent one in a previous video. Ontario study, Ontario in Canada, about the risk of myocarditis, um, showing clearly a greater risk in the vaccinated population. So the CDC publishes a study that shows that the risk after infection is greater than the risk after vaccination. So opposite outcome by the CDC. And I remember from the CDC, I mean, they are the ones that said, what did they say again? Walensky, masks are 80% effective. I cannot say it without laughing. Masks are 80% effective. So masks are more effective than the vaccination. I mean, that's the head of the CDC. Um, and were they also the ones that said ivermectin is horse medicine? I mean, uh, whenever the CDC or the FDA, for that matter, says something, I mean, I take it with a grain of salt. So I dug into that into that study. So they're comparing again risk of myocarditis, heart inflammation, after vaccination and after getting COVID. If you look at the study itself, link below, they used 5 cohorts to compare. It's sort of like the third main paragraph, and I'm not a I'm not a epidemiologist or immunologist, whatever, but I just use common sense and critical thinking to look through the data. I haven't. It's so new. I haven't seen any studies of it, but like, it's so apparent. I mean, look at this. So there's so they compare. They compare. So one is the infection cohort. Then they have a first dose cohort. Then they have a second dose cohort, and an unspecified dose cohort, and any dose cohort. Okay. Now, then they say vaccine doses specifically coded as a booster or extra doses were excluded. So they exclude people with a third or a fourth dose. So if vaccination has a risky side effect, then logically it would happen most with the most vaccinated people. But they exclude the most vaccinated ones. Why? The most vaccinated one, that's a very interesting group to look at. And they exclude it. That is called cherry picking. You you study data, you divide them into different categories, but you only show the ones that follow the narrative um, that you want to bring across. So they they exclude the most interesting category for that matter. What did they also exclude? Person with a positive test results less than 30 days before receipt of the vaccine. So you have people that got COVID within a month. For some reason, they decided to get vaccinated. They exclude those ones as well, and they exclude the people that had the vaccination and within 30 days tested positive. Why exclude those? I mean, you have an immune response because of the disease, and then on top of that, you get the spike protein as well that potentially goes to your heart and causes heart inflammation. So you got a double whammy. Those are interesting groups to look at. You get the double whammy, and I can imagine that if this is those groups with the double whammy, so to speak, in whatever order, um, if that's a high risk, you cannot necessarily say it's because of vaccination or it's because of COVID. Because it could be either, but at least you could say like, hey, if you have had COVID and you get a vaccination on top of that, then you you may run more risk than um, just vaccination or just COVID. So again, it's interesting to see the just COVID people compared to the COVID plus vaccination. Then you see the added risk of vaccination. Very interesting group, and they exclude it. Why? Why do they exclude it? And another thing that I would be interested in, and I don't see that in these data either, is the people that have not been vaccinated ever, people without any vaccination, look at um, uh, their risk of getting myocarditis after they get COVID. I mean, the risk of getting a myocarditis without getting anything, that's the base risk. That's well known about the well known low risk, especially for the lower age categories, of course. But like the people that had never vaccinations, not more than a month ago, but never ever, that group should be compared to the group that had vaccination at any point. That's a good comparison. Not in the study either. This study, as a non-expert, I can easily say, is a joke. It's a joke. I mean, the most important categories are not in there. And the outcome of it is the study is contrary to earlier studies that were published in medical journals. When was this one published? April 1st, 2021. Oh, 2022. April 1st. That's why. Must be a April Fool's Day joke. Anyway, look at it for yourself. You'll probably see comments on it from proper doctors in the next couple of days. But again, non-experts can see that this is a joke. Good luck doing your own analysis. It's needed. See you next week.